Good morning. Happy April. Prem and I wanted to say hi. Let us know if anyone plays a cool prank on you today for April 1st. I'm gonna let her go. She wants to be cuddled right now. Isn't she cute? Thank you for being my testers, for testing this out. The videos are gonna be a little rusty. I'm not used to this. So thanks for checking them out and hanging out for the concepts. I chose today to start with thoughts and why it's important to cultivate positive thoughts. This has been one of the most important things for me to try to practice every day, to try to be aware of my thoughts and do my best to catch myself if I'm thinking something negative and just either clear my mind or change my thoughts or try to turn it into something positive when I find that happening. So we'll get right to the good stuff here. I came into some Stoic philosophy. There's a modern day Stoic philosopher. His name's Ryan Holiday. His videos started popping up on my YouTube feed probably back in the end of the summer, beginning of the fall. And I just fell in love with a lot of the concepts, or like the way that the Stoics thought back in the day. It's just really healthy. And so here we have a small collection of Stoicism quotes and paraphernalia. Marcus Aurelius, he says, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." And I love that. He has a lot of good quotes. Another one that I love is, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking." So that kind of just reminds me to train my thoughts. The other thing, speaking of YouTube, big YouTube fan, listen to lectures all the time on YouTube. A lot of TEDx talks. This one guy that I came across, he's a professor, an old addict, I think, recovered addict. But anyways, I'll include his link on the email here. But my biggest takeaway from his TEDx was that he has trained himself two things, to ask himself two questions when he's struggling with his thoughts. The first question is, are my thoughts useful? And how do my thoughts behave? So I wrote those down. They're on my refrigerator. If I'm ever feeling like spiraling towards negativity, I try to remind myself, and these are practices, not perfect by any means, but I try to remind myself to ask those two questions to myself. Are my thoughts useful? How are my thoughts behaving? It's very helpful. I wanted to read a quick Einstein quote. Who doesn't love Einstein? Very smart man. He says, "The world we have created is a product of our thinking. It cannot be changed without changing our thinking. No problem can be solved from the same consciousness that created it." How true. I'm going to also include an article. This is just from entrepreneur, writer. He's talking about thoughts in this. It's a pretty small article. But he says, "The thoughts we think on a regular basis become ingrained in our subconscious mind, which in turn influence our actions and habits. Our thoughts create our reality." And he talks about how to cultivate a positive mindset. Gratitude is a big one. And I'm going to use gratitude every day throughout the testing and the actual implementation of the full 30-day challenge. We're going to write every day 3 things that we're grateful for in our journals. Visualization also cultivates a positive mindset. Affirmations, meditation, being present. Going to do a whole day on that. And protecting your environment, your influences, which is something I've often struggled with and still do. But, Sometimes we need to cut people out of our lives, and that's okay. Next, this is such a cool book. Deviate, can you see it? This guy, Bo Lotto, he's a neuroscientist. Very fun writing style, very intelligent. He just talks about why we see things the way that we see them, and how we were, well, if you believe in evolution, it is kind of a thing, but like humans have evolved to just our perception, our assumptions, everything was based on survival. So like that's not always the best for creativity and for relationships, but the way that our minds work often is just, it's survival instincts. So in this particular excerpt, page 13, he's talking about the connection between your brain's imaginative powers of possibility and how it reacts with our behavior. So he says, human perception is so layered and complex that our brains are constantly responding to stimuli that aren't real in any physical, concrete sense, but are just as vitally important, our thoughts. So he's talking about MRIs and how they show that an imagined scenario lights up brain regions the same way the real life equivalent scenario does. In other words, ideas and thoughts and concepts have lives inside of us. They are our history too, and directly feed our current and future behavior. Talks about creating our future past too further on in the book, but just so interesting. I love this. I'll use this more too. A couple other quick things here. I love Jordan Peterson. He's a psychologist, gives a lot of lectures. I saw him recently in Manchester, SNHU Arena. He talks about the connection between thinking about yourself and being miserable. And he says, there is no technical difference between thinking about yourself and being miserable. So think about that for a minute. I love that. Being self-conscious leads to misery. Get outside of yourself and be of service to others. If you've ever served other people, you are probably aware that it brings a lot of joy. So I sometimes reach out to people that I know are struggling when I'm having a hard time, and it instantly takes my mind off of myself. So I love that quote. I used to clean houses for a living, and I did this for about 10 years. I loved it. Probably when I was in my early 20s, I came across a little tiny plaque on this woman's dresser, and I took a picture of it back then with my cell phone. And I don't know whose quote it is, but it said, "Every loving thought is true. Everything else is an appeal for healing and help, regardless of the form it takes." And I just think that's a beautiful quote. So that's one that I remembered, and it's been in my mind now for over 20 years. So talking about thoughts. Okay, ready for your challenges? The first one is always going to be to write 3 gratitudes in your journal before the end of the day. That's like just something that's so good for training our thoughts and training our minds to be healthy, and just for living in a state of gratitude. It helps us to be present throughout the day. But your 6 challenges, I'll put these in the email. Your first is an introspective challenge. So look for miracles throughout the day. Try to see things as miracles. Write about one. I heard a quote once that said, there are 2 kinds of people in this world. The first kind are people that see everything as a miracle, and the second kind of people are people that see nothing as a miracle. I'm kind of in the middle, but I'm trying to lean more towards seeing things as miracles. So look for a miracle today and write about it real quick in your journal. The second challenge is a present day challenge. So ask the 2 questions throughout the day. Are my thoughts useful? How do my thoughts behave? Be aware of those questions throughout the day, and then do a quick little write-up about how that might have helped you with your thoughts today. The third challenge that you could do if you choose is a research challenge. And I want you to look up the law of attraction. It's just a really cool concept. Basically, what we look for is what we're going to find. Seek and you will find. And it's also like training your mind to think positive thoughts and opening yourself up to receive positive things in your life. And this is another one that I've been practicing when I'm aware of it, when I'm present enough to make myself do it. And beautiful things happen. So some people believe in the law of attraction, some don't. It is scientifically proven to a point. So there you go. The fourth challenge you could choose from is a timed challenge. So write down as many positive changes that you can think of that could be a result of improving your thoughts. So set a timer for 2 minutes and just write down like a little phrase, a little word, anything like I smile more, I'm in a better mood, whatever you think of that comes to your mind, everything you can think of for 2 minutes. And then that's it. That's just for you to reflect on and a little motivation for training your thoughts to be more positive. The fifth challenge is interactive. So write a short script explaining a difficult situation from your past when you struggled with your thoughts. Role play with a friend, have them ask if you can glean anything positive from it. So just write like a little script with a friend. You can play your own part when you were struggling with your thoughts and maybe have your friend ask like open-ended questions like, can you get anything positive from this situation? We want to try to like flip negatives, and I'll do a whole day on that too. Like when you have a negative emotion or a thought, can you flip it and turn it into something positive? So, and the last challenge is sharing and caring challenge. Number 6, choose one of the quotes or readings that I shared with you and share it with a friend and tell them thank you. So tie in your positive thoughts like a takeaway and share it with a friend, and then at the same time thank them for something. So those are your 1 through 6. I'll put them in the email. You can choose one. You can roll a dice, let the die choose for you, whatever you want. I have a really cool poem I'm going to put in the email too by Ella Wheeler Wilcox about thoughts. So I'm going to type up this email and try to have it all out to you before 5 a.m. Thank you so much for starting your day with me. All right. Bye.